Dude, they're making it so easy for people to be podcasters that it's going to get saturated with.
It already is saturated, but damn. This is incredible.
Yeah. So
I feel like I want to interview you, bro. I feel like this is my thing. I feel like, and forgive me if it's just out there and I haven't watched it, but I feel like that's how you level up.
Yeah.
So you tell your story a bit more, honestly.
Right. You know, it's funny because I was talking to somebody, Kevin Finch, actually, from, he used to be the chef at Atelier Cren.
Okay.
And so he was telling me that, like, with him and his podcast watching, he tends to get tired of the host sort of harping on. And if you listen to a podcast enough, it comes to the point where the person's saying the same thing over and over again.
100%. But I mean, again, like I don't know if I see you interviewing people brilliantly.
Right.
I just know that you're a chef.
Right.
And that you've worked in a lot of great places.
Yeah.
But I don't know, like, what inspires you to buy all this shit. Like, you know? I don't ever heard you tell that.
Yeah. It's just, I don't know, man. I think it was telling the stories. I've always wanted to be a comedian. That's first off.
Dude, I did comedy.
Yeah. So, like, as far as being an entertainer, like, I really wanted to be able to do that.
Yeah.
We're gonna make sure that you're right in front of this at all times.
Hi, Mom. How are you doing?
There you go. Like, right in front. So, I just wanted to tell stories, and honestly, having a podcast.
Are you recording?
Yeah. I'm recording because we're having a cool conversation.
Yeah.
And sometimes I like stop the show to start
don't do
it.
it. Keep going.
Yeah. So
keep going. So you want to be a
so essentially,
comedian? Did you ever do stand up?
I've never done stand up, and you know what? I think
you gotta do stand up.
Yeah, I think what's happening is I'm like hesitating, and
dude, it sucks.
I don't know why.
First couple of times.
Yeah, exactly. First
couple. Unless you're really good anyway, but
right.
The first couple of years suck.
Yeah, but at this point, I've embarrassed myself cooking. I've embarrassed myself doing podcasts.
Bro, that's the right attitude.
I might as well embarrass myself doing stand-up.
I think that's the right
end of the day.
Yeah.
So that's sort of the way I
mean, it's only really embarrassing if you let it embarrass. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Like you're only as embarrassed as you let people like make you feel.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Or as you feel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I adopted the no shame policy a while ago because if you cook with shame on your back, you'll never like push forward. And I'm sure you've dealt with this because you have Square Pie guys, and it's like, how many people told you, oh, you're gonna do pizza? Oh, what are you gonna do, pizza, bro? And then you're like, shut the fuck up. Yes, we're doing pizza.
Well, yes and no, because I don't have any background in the food industry, so. Like, the shame was more like, you don't know what the fuck you're doing. You're an idiot. Like, that was a shame. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That was more the shame, less of the you're gonna do. I love pizza, and like I think if it wasn't pizza specifically, probably would be the only food that I would dare to try to even have a business on. I mean, granted, I went through the gauntlet to teach myself and to work in pizza restaurants to learn the craft and to learn the trade. But yeah, it wasn't like I was like like you guys or Danny, my former business partner, which we can get into at some point. But he did fine dining. He went to a culinary school. Like I was a sales dude working in San Francisco, but I started making pizza at home. But long story short, there was so much imposter syndrome, so much like you're an opposer doing this. But again, thankfully, like pizza is such a beloved food, and people have connections with it up and down, sort of like the spectrum of connections to food industry, et cetera, that it's not easier because it's still a difficult food to execute well per se. But I don't think I wasn't like I was like I'm gonna open a omakase or I'm not gonna open I wasn't gonna go from like nobody to fine dining restaurant. But you could probably go from home cook to pizza maker to pizza restaurant owner
if you put enough time in. You can.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like it's still a really hard industry.
I think the cook that goes home and cooks more will always be better than the guy who, like, even though that guy works 16 hours, the lady works 16 hours and fucking put all their time in whatever. Like, if you don't continue that at home, there's people that are going home and continuing.
That's fair. I mean, that's just like anything. Anyone who's just like doing more homework or
exactly.
Well, I think that what you're really saying is like, if you're passionate enough about something or you care about it,
you can make it happen.
You can make it happen. Yeah, exactly.
And that's honestly anything.
Truly,
because I never thought that I would have this podcast where it's at.
Yeah,
and it's very hard to quantify success, right? But the fact that a business owner like yourself who is busy as fuck, like finds the time to come on the show, it means a lot for me as to like where I've gotten. 100%. It's like now people are willing to donate time. Like I want to become undeniable like Oprah. Like if Oprah asks, if Sucio asks you to be on Sucio Talk, it's like, no, of course. Yeah. We'll push some meetings around. We'll make it happen. Am I there yet? Not yet. But
has anyone snubbed you? Has anyone?
There's been some chefs who leave you on scene. There's also, because we work in such a dangerous industry, there's a lot of skeletons in the closet. There's a lot of like things that have happened behind the scenes that, you know, people don't want to be called out on, things that they've done that they just want to sweep under the rug. But
yeah, that's a very interesting layer to the.
Unfortunately, though, we're never going to be able to move on if we don't address our past.
Yeah.
And so what I'm trying to do is create a safe space for chefs that have been canceled to like come on here and like, you know, I'm not trying to like give them the reason or like, oh, you're so awesome for not paying your staff, but you came on Sucio Talk and you said it's not your fault.
Right. No.
Still, go fuck yourself. Yeah. But like, this is your perspective.
Yeah.
Like, and I think people
speak your truth.
Yeah. And because of the internet, I think that there's a sense of reality that's been lost.
Big time.
Yeah. So people will go on the internet and talk shit, and it's like, pull up, son. I'm from the Northeast, baby. Like
where are you from?
I grew up in Connecticut.
Oh,
Meriden.
There you go.
Yeah,
New York.
So it's more cutthroat over there.
Are you Yankees fan?
You know, no, I never wrestling, man.
Wrestling.
WWE. Yeah,
sick, dude.
It's in Connecticut. So
yeah, that's right. It's Stanford, right?
Yeah, and it was the only thing that.
This is like my home team is Vince McMahon, bro.
Yeah, exactly. Well, it's a common connection because
you're fired.
No matter what language you speak, because I didn't speak English. My cousin spoke English when I first moved here from Puerto Rico.
Oh, wow.
So he didn't know. It's awkward, right?
Damn.
I'm 4 years old. He's 8 at the time.
I'm
sleeping in the same bed with him.
Wow.
Doesn't know who I am.
Yeah.
He puts this on. He like WWF.
And you guys got it.
And like that was our connection. And so to me, that is the first connection that I ever had to anybody that was like a friend of mine. Wow. Because up to that point, like, you're 4 years old. The only people you know is your parents.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And there's this kid that is my family, but speaks a completely different language and is from somewhere where I've never been.
Yeah.
You know? And so for him to be like, oh, you're nervous as fuck right now? Like, me too. Here's some fucking wrestling. You know what I'm saying?
Weird violence.
Yeah, here's Stone Cold. Yeah, exactly. Here's some like weird kind of like homoerotic stuff, but whatever, bro. You know?
No. Hey, listen, I was into it too. I had like a shit ton of wrestling figures.
Yeah, for sure. So I think if you grew up in that era, it's like a part of your childhood.
When you look back at what do they call it, the Attitude Era?
Yeah,
that shit was weird, man. Like, no, I mean, I get it, but it's like what flew then or what was allowed then is just so beyond the pale now.
Oh, yeah.
Absurd.
For sure. Now, what do you think about that? Because there's a lot of people talking about going back and rewriting movies and books to today's sentiments.
I don't know. What are you going to do? Like, the whole point of history is to look at it for what it was at the time, right? Like, That's like, why would you do that? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If people should see and make their own opinions. And I don't know. I mean, I consider myself like progressive and liberal, but sometimes it just goes too far. Like, what? You can't go back and rewrite a movie. Just don't watch it. If you don't want your kid to see it, maybe censor them that way. That's on you if you choose to censor your kid. But if that's what your perspective is, then that's I think maybe in my mind the right way to do something like that. Wouldn't want to go back and rewrite every movie. Like, what are we going to rewrite the fucking Holocaust? And like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it happened. That's what happened. People were assholes. People were terrible to each other.
Right.
That's what happened. That's what it was.
Yeah.
Like,
and we need to.
What are you going to do? You can't change it.
No. I mean, honestly, we need to learn from it.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's like, it doesn't help that we keep like trying to hide shit that happened.
It's really strange.
You know what I mean? It's like a phenomenon that's.
Or hide shit that's happening now.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. You can't.
Yeah. Almost instantaneously.
Yeah.
Like there was a Eater article that came out recently about the whole James Beard. There was a whole James Beard blowout with like the weirdness and the.
What was it that none of the?
Basically, they took a guy's award away, a nomination, because of he was like yelling and shit in his kitchen, and like staff members and everybody was like.
I think you were I think I saw you on IG Live one night talking.
Yeah, so I was talking about it because. Nobody ever plays devil's advocate anymore, and when you do, it's always it's always like on the other side, like on the right. Everyone wants to be on the right side. No one wants to like talk about the hard shit.
Yeah.
And I'm like, at the end of the day, like I've been worked in places where someone's yelling, but it's not necessarily because they're berating me. It's like, this is a restaurant and there's hoods on.
Right.
And there's like, you need to have a certain level of communication to get the ball rolling, especially when you're doing 400 covers.
Sure.
You know? And like 400 plates in 4 hours, and you think about that, like that is a tall order. And in order for it to work, you need order. And if you don't have order, then it's going to be chaos. And then you get a bad review. And then somebody's like, well, their burger sucked. And I came all the way here for their burger.
Yeah.
But it's like, how do you even defend that? You can't go to the table and be like, oh, well, John had a bad day. So, you know what I'm saying? And
I guess I don't even know what the right. No. Well, that's another symptom of the internet.
Right.
But
nobody knows what the right thing to do is anymore.
I guess I think in fairness, who knows? And granted, and I'll defer to you. I have zero experience in that world. Literally none. Like I've worked in toxic workplaces in tech companies, but it was toxic because like the boss was trying to bang like the 20-year-old intern. You know what I mean? Like it wasn't like he was yelling at everybody. And I've worked for some narcissistic motherfuckers too, and whatever, it's fine. But the whole sort of pop culture version of yelling in restaurants or whatever is put on TV or the menu or like it seems like there's some reality to it.
There is definitely reality to it.
And so where's the line is the question. Like where is it okay to be like why can't that sort of respect occur without yelling? Why can't that be organized beforehand in a formal meeting? Is it just that there are too many egos in the kitchen? Like what is the barrier for that to happen in a way where the outcome isn't always that like every couple years or every year there's like 3 or 4 amazing fine dining chefs that have like this incredible PR persona that get fucking canceled.
Exactly.
Like, why does that always? It's not like it's stopping. It just keeps happening.
It just keeps happening.
And the people go out like, what is this shit in LA with the horses restaurant?
Yeah, that dude like killing cats.
What the fuck?
That's like fucking crazy.
I mean, whatever exaggeration some of that is, because once it gets to the media, it's exaggerated. But there's got to be some semblance of truth to that.
Right.
Like maybe he killed 2 cats, not 100. I don't know. But like. Something there happened for sure. So
and the crazy part is for me that sometimes as employees, we just kind of like let shit go in front of our faces. Like in all of those articles.
It's a hard dynamic.
Yeah. But
this is the person who's paying you.
I have never, I don't know, man. Maybe this is just me, but I always told myself, like, if somebody puts their hands on me, I will punch them in the face and quit.
Yeah, but that's a clear line.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But there's a lot of people that see that happening to this person and they don't say shit. And then 6 months down the line, you get this article that comes out and it's like, whatever his name is, whatever her name is sitting there making a statement like, oh, don't tell him my name. But yeah, I saw all that shit go down. And it's like, well you're fucking worse for not saying anything.
I mean, I just watched this movie with Charlize Theron about like the Me Too movement at Fox News. Or was it Fox News or CBS? No, it's the Fox News one.
Right. Is that on Netflix?
I think it is on Netflix. Yeah. It's a great movie, but think about that one, right? Like that's like decades and decades of, sexual harassment and sexual assault, and there's always it's a power dynamic. Like that's the problem, right? But I guess what I don't get is why? What is the connection to this like narcissistic personality disorder and this egomaniac like persona in chefs? How are so many chefs lumping themselves, or whether they're born that like why are so many people with these personality traits choosing to go into this profession and making the same mistakes as every other chef before that? Like how? Yeah, it's such an interesting thing to study. Like how
what's
have we
not gotten better? You know what I'm saying? Like that's something that Andres talks about.
Yeah,
we have no exit strategy as chefs.
Right,
we're just gonna work till we fucking fall on the ground, and like there's no retirement for us. So that's part of this whole thing. It's like we got to be the sports center of food. Why don't I have all the retired chefs working for Sucio Talked, like all over the globe? Reporting on food.
Because y'all are competing with each other.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's the fucking problem.
Yeah.
There's no community.
Not really. And there's just like, well, even within the weird, like not weird, even within like the professional groups or the associations, there's a hierarchy. There's
for
competition.
Sure. Yeah. So it is always a competition, and I think the best teams are those that can stick together.
100%.
You know what I'm saying?
Well, going back and all this, some of that I'm gonna watch this abuse and not say anything. Part of it is like a team mentality. Like there's both thankfully, I think it's more, I mean, not thankfully, but like said differently, like perhaps it's a little better that it's more of a psychological abuse than always a physical abuse.
Right.
But I'm saying in order for physical abuse to happen and for people to be cool with it, there has to be a psychological manipulation beforehand.
Right.
Which comes into this, like, people play with this idea of a team. Like, Chef did that. Again, assumption. Like, I don't know this personally, but I assume in those moments, someone's saying like, oh, well, they're rationalizing to themselves. Like, oh, Chef did that because that's going to make the team better or something.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And you do, and you do justify it in your mind, which then in turn makes you do the same thing. And you're like, what am I doing here? Like, this isn't even me.
That's
what
crazy.
I mean? And it's so far gone from the person that, because I said stand-up comedy. This is my first passion.
Yeah.
Now you're in this military. Now you can't be yourself. You better not make a fucking joke. You better shut the fuck up and pick the peas or do whatever it is.
Right.
And I don't know, man. Part of myself was just like, shut the fuck up and pick the peas. One day, this will all be worth it.
Yeah.
And then
it's just like the army, though, right? To your point. Like, there is something disarming and like a little like freeing in a weird way of being like, all right, these are the rules, these are the constraints.
Yeah.
This is that everyone's following.
I choose to follow this.
Yes.
That's why I feel like look, I'm not condoning people get yelled at, but I am condoning for not violence. Fucking discipline.
Only in the WWE.
Right?
Yeah.
Discipline.
Sure.
Like, that is what I've come to the realization of, like, just a normal cook is not going to do 100% of a really good job for 8 hours.
No.
It's just not in human nature to do the right thing 100% of the time. Is that integrity? Yes. Do people operate out of integrity? Not all the time, but I don't think it's a malicious, like, they're not waking up and being like, I'm not going to season this salad like he said because fuck him.
Of course not. Well, I mean, that is the problem, though, with psychological manipulation, right? Because at some point, whatever power the manipulation had runs out, and someone does wake up and say, I'm not going to do this to fuck him.
Right. Exactly.
It goes like,
That's why you have to have constant calibration. And, like, I think that the restaurants, like, I don't know, Gordon Ramsay, for example, like, that needs to exist, because if it wasn't for that, bro, I would be so rogue. Like, I am a very, like, anarchist, like, contrarian. Like, it's very hard for me to just follow the fucking rules. And so I'm almost amazed at myself for.
But isn't that what makes like? Isn't that what makes like the chefs become that way?
Oh, for sure. It's like a cycle that you go through, because at first you're like this shiny, bright-eyed kid who, like, wants to learn everything food.
Right.
And then you find out that there's this rock star lifestyle to it. And then that gets addicting.
Yeah.
And almost a little bit more than the food.
Sure.
And then you recalibrate and get back into the food if you're doing the right thing and not caring about partying too much. And that's when you sort of get into, like, lonely territory.
Interesting.
Because all of your workmates are your competition.
Right.
So anytime they see weakness, they're going to fucking pounce on you.
Damn.
And so you have no friends.
Right.
And I was telling this to the chef the other day, Ronnie. I was like, if it wasn't for the girlfriends that cooks have at the time that they're, like, changing and evolving, you don't fucking make it, bro.
Yeah.
Girlfriends, boyfriends, partners, like, those people.
Yeah.
And God bless all of the people who have ever dated a chef.
100%.
Like, that shit is rough.
Yeah.
You're probably not gonna.
It's
probably not gonna work out.
Yeah.
You know, and that's just the sad reality. And, like, when I look around, there's only a few chefs who are married,
like,
and
happily.
like, and super successful at the same time.
Mm.
But what is success? Is it being a billionaire? I think some people experience success at different levels. Like, some people are, I'm a billionaire, I'm successful. Other people are like, my kids are healthy and they go to school.
Yeah.
And I'm successful.
I mean, talking about some deep shit like that. It's
what is success for you?
For me, I mean, I just want a certain level of, like, financial freedom for sure. Like, there's no doubt. That's really honestly about it. Like, and it does require a certain income level and probably a couple more restaurants. Do I need to be like Jeff Bezos? No, fuck nothing. That's crazy.
Yeah.
But I want to make the best. Truly, personally, I want to make the best pizza that we can make.
Right.
I want people to be happy eating my food. That's really is. Like, so a lot of ways I feel successful already, because started from my own kitchen to pop up to this. it's pretty fucking amazing.
Right.
And it's definitely not something that I reflect on every day, and I need to try to do it more to like keep myself level.
Heard that.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah. Well, look, we're having a great conversation, but I'm actually going to start the show now, all right? Boom. Actually, a little theme song, please. Here we go. Now we're going to take it all the way back. All right? Taking it all the way back. Sucio Talk, Square Pie Guy, Pizza Man 420.
Yes.
Let's take it all the way back. Where were you born, Chef?
Great Neck, New York, Nassau County.
Ooh, Great Neck.
Yeah.
Okay. What was life like there?
Good. It was good. Very normal, like, upper middle class New York City suburb. My dad was a dentist.
Oh, dope.
My mom did real estate. Mm-hmm. Taught some bridge and mahjong on the side.
Oh, dope. Mahjong.
Mahjong.
I didn't know you needed a teacher for that.
Crazy. Yeah, for sure. You can get better at that for sure.
Okay. Is it
I don't know. She didn't. My dad taught me poker. That's all I know.
Right. You know poker. That's funny.
My mom's like hella good at bridge. Yeah. She's like going to like the national championships.
Oh wow!
Right now, yeah,
crazy.
Yeah.
Okay, shout out to her.
Yeah, Dina Schechter. What's up?
Okay, cool. Any interest when you were younger? What were you doing? Playing video games or?
Yeah, video games.
Tony Hawk Pro Skater.
No. I love Gran Turismo. I love car racing games.
Car racing games.
Big
Destruction Derby.
Destruction Derby was Demolition. Yeah, Destruction Derby with the candy. Like no, yeah. What was the guy?
Twisted Metal.
Twisted Metal.
Yeah.
Oh my god,
that was a
fucking great game.
Classic banger.
Amazing game.
Yeah.
I love the Mets. I love base. I played baseball my whole life. Started to play hockey a little bit in the Northeast. And at some point, all the contact sports, the kids got bigger, and I was like, "This is stupid."
You stayed the same size.
Yeah,
it's like,
but I'm a pretty like action arm. Like I had a good arm, so I was a pitcher in high school. So played baseball. What else? I mean, definitely, I was like a chubby kid. So that was definitely. I think I still am. How many pounds is the camera at? But yeah, love to eat.
Yeah.
Just a happy-go-lucky. I got bullied a lot, but I think like I subverted that with comedy and like self-deprecation, which
right.
I think didn't always help. I've learned a lot about that now as an adult, but and what that did to my like ego and my mental health and shit. But I was like a fun guy. But I've heard from friends that when I was younger, I got bullied and I would bully other kids because I couldn't handle it. You know what I mean?
Right.
So
yeah. That's usually the way it works.
Yeah.
It's just trickle effect all the way down.
Cycles of like preying on the weak, like in the kitchen that you're just talking about.
No, it's true, man.
Yeah.
Like I used to come into a new kitchen job and be like, whose job am I taking?
100%.
Like that's just like with the mentality that I had at the time. And like people, if you say that now, they're like, well, why would I'm like LeBron James, bro, Michael Jordan.
Sure.
You want to be the best at it, you have to like pick an opponent to beat them
100%,
and like just keep doing that.
Yeah, it's fair.
And honestly, like it was a cutthroat world when I was coming up. Like it was I got a stack of resumes on the table. Like
why should I hire you?
Yeah, exactly. And now everybody's like, we need help. You know what I'm saying?
So interesting.
Yeah, but I think half of that is because we abused everyone the fuck out of the industry.
Sure.
And now they're all personal chefs and doing whatever.
Right.
But truly, I think now the name of the game is to preserve talent.
Yes. Grow it, preserve it.
Exactly. Yeah. What was your first job?
I was a caddy at a golf course.
Oh, dope.
I did
like
that
Bagger Vance?
Not as good as Bagger Vance. Or Magical, I believe. Yeah. No, I used to wake up at like the ass crack of dawn, get to the golf course, get all the golf carts ready, clean them all up, clean the bags, and then carry 2 bags for 18 holes or 36 holes, and make straight cash. It was a good gig. I did it all the way from high school to college.
Okay.
Yeah.
Legit.
Yeah.
So put money in your pocket. What's the golf like? Did you enjoy like being at the golf course? I'm sure you did.
Yes and no.
It's good camaraderie. It's a good.
Not when you're the caddy. You're like, you're kind of just the bitch. Like,
right.
Yeah. They just tell you what to do.
Get coffees.
Also, like crazy things like if you were caddying for someone who sucked, because they would tee off.
Right.
You'd be down the golf course and you're trying to hunt their balls out. Like you have to watch it. So it's a bright sunny day. They're like this, your light's over here. Like you're like trying to imagine tracking a golf ball through this light.
Yeah.
You're like blinded. And so you have an idea of where the ball goes and you get to where you think the ball is and they're like, we're paying you. Where's the ball? And you're like, oh, fuck, I don't know. I'm like, I'm blind now. Like, or they hit it like directly into the woods and they're like, okay, I don't want to lose. I'm betting with this guy. Like, don't make me lose. Like, bro, you hit it into the woods. Like, how am I supposed to find this ball? Yeah.
I can't help your shitty game.
But it was good, man. Most of the time, people were pretty respectful in the neighborhood that I caddied in the 2 golf courses that I worked at over those years. Mostly pretty respectful. Only a couple random. I mean, I got a lot of funny stories, but like, it was good. It was definitely a good job.
Right.
Definitely a good job.
Yeah.
For like a high school kid, for sure.
I heard that.
Yeah.
And then when you went to school, what'd you go for? Where'd you go?
I went to University of Miami in Florida.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was good.
Party with Bert Kreischer or what?
No, I did not party with Bert Kreischer. I didn't party with nobody. I mean, that was a crazy scene for anyone in 18 to 22.
Right, I bet.
I actually ended up just playing a lot of golf and like tennis and just like chilling. I didn't take school very seriously. Did not enjoy being told what to do or what to learn. But I just sort of, everyone in my family went to college. Like, that's what you just did where I grew up. So I did it. I was actually a referee for intramural sports.
Okay.
At college, which was also a terrible job in a similar way.
Like what are you refereeing?
You're refereeing other more athletic, more attractive people that that are in your grade, basically. So like, I didn't get accepted to any of the frats.
Right.
And so like, there are all these like frat guys, and like Miami has got hot girls, bro. And I had no chance. And I'm there like in the fucking zebra suit, like
right.
My only little semblance of power is being like, your ball's out, you fucking lose. like
right.
That was it. But like, I don't know. I think that time like $11 an hour or something like that. It wasn't terrible.
Right. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a fun job. But Miami was a fun place to go to school for sure. For sure. But,
and then what kind of, as you're winding that down, do you have plans on where you're going to move? What are you going to do?
Really not. No, I had no real direction. I started to like get into better shape in college.
Okay.
But then I blew my knee out playing basketball. And then I was basically recovering from that after I graduated. I went back to caddying again, but I got like a private caddying gig for like a very wealthy guy, which was interesting. I also was like his food runner for his private chef.
Okay.
And I would like run food and drinks to they had these like crazy card games. So I was in this mansion on Long Island. The guy had a golf course on his property.
Oh, damn.
He had 6 holes.
Okay.
And he had 18 tee boxes or whatever. It's some derivative of that where you could like tee off different directions to different holes and it made 18 holes.
So you can make 18 holes.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I was like his caddy and then I was like his like waiter, basically.
Right. What is the bill to take care of your own golf course? God,
a lot.
I mean, the grass, the water is just crazy.
Insane.
Yeah.
So I did that for like 6 months. And then one of the guys in that card game, he was a property owner in commercial real estate owner in New York City. And my degree was in marketing.
Okay.
I didn't really do shit. Like I got like a C in accounting, like I just didn't care. I don't know. I wasn't into school. It wasn't my thing. So, he got me an introduction to this marketing firm. They did market research. It's like the first, I don't want to say first, but it's this like amazing women-owned company. These 2 old Jewish ladies. They set up this international market research. One of the first people to do market research on the internet. And they also had a translation company within it. So they would do international surveys. They would collect all the data. They would sort and sort of clean all the data and then sell it back in a package to the customer.
Jesus.
I was like her. So that was one of the commercial real estate guy's tenants. So he got me he like got me the intro. I got the job. I was the assistant to the CEO. And I just like answered the phone and sat at the front desk when I was 22.
Right.
And then I moved out of my parents' house and then moved to Queens with a buddy in Astoria, Queens. And then I kept just being like, at that job, being like, I feel like I need to do more. Like, this is not like I want to move to New York City. I want to have like a life. I can't afford this thing. My opening salary was like $40,000, which is like in 2011 or 12, like not that much money to live in Queens.
No.
So I kept being like, let me do sales. Like one of the only class that I really enjoyed in college was this class called professional selling. And the teacher had this amazing like travel business where he sold these bus tours internationally. And he also used to do insurance sales. But he just kind of taught like the art of selling and the concepts of selling. And that was really the only class that I was like, I feel like I'm learning something. So I just kept pitching my boss, like, let me sell projects. Let me do this. Let me do that. And she had this, they had just built like a false mirror and they turned one of their conference rooms into like a focus group room.
Okay.
So she's like, try to book some jobs for me there. So I started to book a couple jobs. I kept cold calling, kind of got that under my belt, started making like tiny bit of commission, but it was weird. Nothing was formal. Like if I sold a $10,000 job, they'd be like, here's $500. If I sold like $1,000 job, maybe they like the customer, they'd be like, here's $600. So
right.
I'd be like, what the fuck is this? You know, so it wasn't super informal, but you know, that company was amazing. They kind of gave me a start in the world. So I always have a lot of respect, but this is like now like 2012. And I think New York City did this whole thing where they're trying to replicate San Francisco. So they're giving these huge tax incentives for tech companies to start in New York City.
Right.
So I got a ping on LinkedIn because I put sales in my profile. Got this like note on LinkedIn like, hey, we're recruiting for this software company. So I interviewed for the software company, and it was like selling spa and salon scheduling software and like e-gift card software to salons.
Wow.
It's called Booker software.
Okay.
So I interviewed. It was like a $10K pay bump, and they actually had like a formal commission structure. And I was like, thank you so much, research company. Love you guys. And this woman still like every year on my birthday, like will LinkedIn me, and she used to call me her grandma. I'm Jewish, and I was dating this non-Jewish girl at the time. She'd be like, how's your Schechter girlfriend?
Yeah.
Like,
there you go.
She was like my informal grandma. So that was cool. It kind of got me started. And then, yeah, man, from like 2012, 2013, I was in sales. I started like doing 100 cold calls a day to like spas and salons all over the country. Had like the people, I was like 10 guys and girls that got hired with me, and we all trained together. A lot of camaraderie there.
Right.
But yeah, I worked in sales from like 2012 to basically 2019.
Just making bank.
No, definitely not. Sometimes, some months, but more like, I think I was like, there was a couple quarters where I was like number one guy, number two guy. Some people make a lot of bank. You really have to go to like what's called enterprise sales, small business sales, like the people who call you on Yelp. You know, I'm sure they make a decent salary these days, but you have to do a high volume of sales.
A lot. Okay.
Yeah. And I was good. I was no quitting me. So, and I had a thick skin from, I guess, getting bullied and shit. So you could tell me no, and I would try to have fun with it. I probably did a bunch of like dumb prank calls that I would look back on and regret right now. But yeah, it was a good like life lesson, you know. But no, I mean, I made enough to live in New York City,
right,
and upgrade a little bit, but definitely living paycheck to paycheck, just like spending more than, you know what I mean? Like if I was as smart or wise now as I was then, I probably would have saved more, but it was nothing to like really write home about.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then, were you going to any restaurants at this time in New York? Were
you
like big into the food scene?
You know, I wasn't like, I think at the time, like right around then, like people started to be Yelp elites and shit. Like, I don't think I was ever that level, and I didn't have like a food blog. You know, people had like remember blogs. Like,
yeah.
That wasn't me, but yeah, I love to go out to eat. I ended up moving to Prospect Heights in Brooklyn. Opened a ramen shop there called Chuko.
Okay.
These guys I think were from former like Morimoto, associated with that group.
Right.
And I was blown away by that shit. That was like fantastic, delicious food. Like the first place I ever had like really nice fried Brussels sprouts with like fish sauce and that the classic dish now, but like, you know, 2014, I'd like just never necessarily seen that. So I don't know, living in Brooklyn, a lot of cool farmers market stuff, a lot of cool pop-ups. So definitely would frequent that stuff. I mean, I certainly love to eat, but no, nothing like that trick that like made me like, oh, should I do restaurants? I mean, when I was in college, buddy of mine, we joked that we would do like a sandwich truck. And I became friends back in Miami with this guy from New Jersey, had a deli, and I convinced him to put this like chicken cutlet, bacon, mozzarella cheese sandwich on his menu. Yeah, called the Chicken Marco Polo.
Oh, there you go.
He was by this police station in Miami, and they put on a lunch special one week. It sold out like in the first day, and he's like, "It's on the menu forever." And like, sadly, they closed during COVID. But my name was on the menu. Like I said, UM alum Mark S. on the menu.
Hell
Chicken
yeah,
Marco Polo.
bro.
That was my first culinary innovation, bro.
Right. The sandwich.
The sandwich.
Right.
But no, not really. But the real key to me for the food industry is I grew up with this kid in Great Neck. His name's Jeff Newman. He was like always was like the chef amongst our friends. Like he would teach our parents when we were like 13 years old. He would like book sushi making classes with parents in my town. Like he would do that. He like introduced me to like QP mayo. Like he would go to like they're in right over the border in like Queens. There's like all these Korean markets. He would like go shop there and be like, this is kimchi. It's like, that was like my first exposure to be like, what, you know, like there's more than like pizza, you know? Yeah. So, but that guy, he went to Cornell, went to this culinary institute up there, did their hospitality program. And he was like a rocket ship. Like he has that background though. He like worked crazy hard from like from graduation until now he's opening a restaurant in Philly, this guy. But he was the like closest thing I had in the food industry. But he was a good reference because like I saw, granted, like I just said, I was in college. I didn't give a shit about school. I wasn't super motivated. Like I just wanted to like pay my bills, not have to take money from my parents. That was my standard. That was what success was for me then, was just like,
don't ask for anything.
Don't ask for anything. Like just be independent.
Right.
Whereas my friend Jeff was like, I'm going to achieve some shit. Like he got flown over to Hong Kong to open restaurants for Mario Batali and all that whole restaurant group.
Right.
So he was like killing it.
Right.
But
crazy.
And even then, I'd like, even in college, I was like, bro, can we do a sandwich truck? He's like, dude, shut up. Like, you have no idea what you're talking about. Like, don't even bother.
Yeah.
So, but I talk about Jeff because he ended up moving out here. His now wife is an architect, and they lived out here, lived in the Sunset. And so, fast forward a couple years from the New York era, he's the one who kind of helped me get into pizza unintentionally.
Oh, dope.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
So, did pandemic get you into pizza?
Or no, I started in 2016.
2016. Okay.
Yeah. But
what made you start?
Honestly, great question. Well, going back real quick, like when I was in New York, I was doing stand up. That's I always had a side gig because sales is so soulless.
Right.
And I just felt like I don't know, I want to say, I didn't feel like a piece of shit, but there was something there where like the people who were so into doing sales, the guys that were moving up and going to enterprise sales and making like crazy bank.
Right.
That wasn't my vibe. Like,
right.
They were so like bro-y and like just not, I didn't feel like I fit in.
Mm-hmm.
So at some point I always wanted to be a comic or do something. I always thought I was funny. Like in high school they had an improv class and I tried to join the improv troupe and they didn't accept me because I did play baseball. So like I was always in this weird
in between.
Yeah, really, really, truly that's how I felt a lot.
Right.
What it resulted in as an adult is I have like a lot of friends in a lot of different circles, which kind of is cool. But like at the time, it was like I didn't fit anywhere.
Right.
But loosely, I fit in with different people. Like, but they just wouldn't like claim me as part of their clique. You know what I mean?
Right.
But yeah, how did I get into pizza? So I always had something on the side. I was dating this girl in New York, moved in together. She got a job in Seattle. I moved out with her to Seattle, which kind of was like I was like at my peak in the comedy world. Not that I was ever going to go anywhere, because it took a lot more work than I was willing to put in.
Yeah.
I don't even think I was talented.
Were you paid regular or anything
Fuck
like
no.
that? No.
Oh my God.
Just open micing?
Oh, well, I was open micing, but I was good at networking.
Right.
So I was open and I wasn't shy about pitching people. So I was open micing. I pitched this bar in my neighborhood. I said, let me run my own open mic. And they let me do that weekly. And then that turned into a monthly show. And I did it from 2011 to 2014. So in that time, in that 3-year period, I built a pretty big network and I started to turn that into a monthly show. And then we would collect some money from the bar, pay some of the comics.
Mm-hmm.
So I would produce my own shows and do my own mics and MC. And I would do my own material. And people who I'd put on my show would throw me a bone, put me on their show. But the shows were stacked. Like some of the folks that I was doing comedy with are like on national TV right now, like on commercials and are like Instagram celebrities, like killing it. But nowhere near as talented as those folks. And I think that was a good reference for me because I was like, holy shit, like these people are brilliant.
Right.
Like I could try, right. Like
what made them brilliant?
They just had like a knack. Like it just had they understood.
They were
like,
just funny.
No, I think so. Some of them were funny. Some people are like this one dude I think of who I actually think is the funniest, and he isn't even like out there yet, or like he hasn't had success or fame.
Yeah.
But he just goes up there and he's like so free, so loose, doing the wackiest shit. But he is hilarious, like insanely talented. Other people just outwork me, like wrote all day long, always writing, always thinking about comedy. When they're in the subway, just in their notebook, just jotting, and they could take those scribbles and convert them into something.
Right.
They could put them into something succinct, and like didn't matter what the topic was, like they were genuinely funny. And then some people just like knew their own personal voice. Like I was still like super insecure. I didn't know where I was in my life. Like, do I like my job? Do I like my life? Like, where am I going? You know, if those questions are still in your mind, it's pretty hard to like go on stage and really be real.
Mm-hmm.
But I was quick, so I could MC well. I was good at hyping up my friends, so I could like, you know, get the crowd going. I could interact. I could kind of improvise again, sort of like on the mic, but just not my own material. Some of my best stuff was more like just real sort of sad, embarrassing stories.
Right,
like,
right.
Like I shat my pants at a Mets game one time because my friend's dad told me, and it was my friend's birthday, and I was a fat kid, and my parents would always try to restrict what I ate. So my friend's dad, we sat down first inning. He's like, "Bro, all you guys eat whatever you want to order." So I took it very literally, and every inning I ate like something new.
Right.
And then the game went to extra innings, and I shat my pants in extra innings because I just been stuffing my face the whole time.
Right.
Like, is that a funny story? I don't know. The way I told it, did it work out? I probably had like 3 times out of like 50 where that got a huge rip.
Right.
I told it right. I timed it right. The audience was right. I don't know, but that
it's
was
all the timing, huh?
I don't know. It's just, I think it's all like, if you know yourself. Again, like I was telling that joke. Sometimes I would tell that story and I would like try to protect my ego in weird ways. Then the times that it landed, it was like, I just like let it be free. And I somehow conveyed to the audience that like this weird trauma of my parents restricting my eating versus this guy's dad having no clue about that and letting me loose was funny, especially because I shat my pants. Like, like, you know what I'm saying? But the times that I couldn't effectively communicate all of that in a succinct way that was short and quippy and punchy, it didn't land.
Right.
And then I would also try to do joke and be like, oh, like sales was a funny job. And that wasn't funny. Then I remember one joke that I had about the New York City subway, about the voice on the subway. And it was like a dumb joke. It was something like you're riding the subway and they come on. They're like, next stop is Queens Boulevard. I forgot the set. The setup was something like, you ever be in the subway and the conductor is like really highfalutin, like really smart.
Right.
He's like, next stop's Queen Boulevard. And he's like, also, did you know, New York, that Napoleon lost his battles because he fought a 2-front war? Like, was that funny? Did it land sometime? You know what I'm saying? Like, so like, I just didn't know what my material was. I was, but
you're trying to figure it out.
And you need that time, especially if you're not these guys. But the real moment that I like said I'm definitely not going to do a comedy was I did what's called the Bringer Show. You know what a Bringer Show is? Bringer Show is when you get booked to bring the comics and the crowd.
Okay.
And I did it at a place called Eastville Comedy Club, which is an actual like legit comedy club, but they backfill their slow weeknights with like these people who could bring the audience. So I did a Bringer Show. It was awesome because we got enough money where I could pay my friends who are comics and I could keep a little cash. But on that show, Jim Gaffigan called the owner and was like, hey, I want to run new material. And the guy comes up to me and is like, do you mind if Jim Gaffigan is like 30 minutes in your show? I'm like, no, like, are you kidding me? That guy's a legend.
Right.
So he comes in, and I remember he came in, he has like a stack of paper like this big. And I was like, oh, like, wow, great to meet you. Like, I'm so nervous. I'm like, I'm going to bring you on stage. And I'm like, is this your material for this year? He's like, no, this is just this month. And like, just this like stack of writing.
Right.
But he was just.
Was it note cards? Was it 8x11s?
It was literally like 8x11s.
Right.
But, and it was like a binder.
Handwritten?
It was typed. But my point is like, whatever that was, it's not even like he was referencing it before he went on stage. But like just the fact that he like dropped this on the table and was like, yeah, this is just my month of writing. You know, like to me, I was like, shit, like I'll never, ever be this. Ever.
Right.
So
like that's why he is who he is.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
And that's sort of that's one way to get there.
It's all about repetition.
Yeah. But I'll just say that moved to the West Coast with this girl and we got engaged and didn't necessarily work out. And she went to business school here in Berkeley. So I moved with her down here.
Okay.
And my friend Jeff, who I was saying was here.
Yeah.
And he moved from the Sunset to Montclair. So I was helping him unpack his boxes. And he has, just like a lot of chefs, has like every cookbook you could ever imagine.
Right.
So I pull out this book, My Pizza by Jim Leahy, who's the guy that did Sullivan Street Bakery, had a pizza spot as well in New York that I'm blanking on the name. And I'm like, oh, Jeff, can I have this book? He's like, sure. And he's like, take my pizza stone and my pizza peel too, because you can't make good pizza at home. Like, this my friend, this guy Jeff, he used to work at Cotonia. Like, he's like, you can't make good pizza at home. Have it, have fun. Like, go entertain yourself. You know, like subtext, like dumbass. Like, go entertain, you know, like have fun. So I did. I went home. I started fucking around with the pizza because I've always like wanted to do something on the side. Like, I was still doing sales. My relationship was sort of like falling apart. I wasn't necessarily willing to like recognize that it was
so you're just like, I'm gonna make pizza while this thing falls
sort of
around
not that conscious, not in that much of a conscious way, but more like I'm gonna find a new hobby to like maybe she'll be attracted to me again, like maybe this will work out.
Meanwhile,
maybe
your girl's on the coast like, son of a bitch.
Nah, she was supportive. She was supportive, and her classmates from grad school would come and eat the pizza, and I just kept like diving into it, and then I like got the Instagram going, Pizza Mail 420.
Right.
And I was having a lot of fun, like for 6 months, and doing these like weekly pizza parties. And my friend and Jeff would come and be like, your pizza sucks. Your pizza sucks. Like, let me show you how to do it. I don't think he ever knew what he was really doing. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like he obviously knows what he's doing. He didn't know the impact he was having on me.
Right.
But he just kept telling me what to do, how to do it different. And I just kept, every day I would just make dough. I'd go to work, I would make dough. Go to work, make dough. Just go on the internet, talk to different pizza makers, pizza restaurant owners, ask them for tips about their flour. Was reading pizzamaking.com, which is like an amazing forum for anyone who wants to make pizza.
Pizzamaking.com. Okay.
Could you like how obviously
is that like Reddit for pizza?
Sort of, yeah. It's like literally it's like an old school forum. It's like a listserv, you know?
Okay.
Our listserv's more like an email, but it's like an old school forum. Like it's got the, you know, like just very basic text website with the threads.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you can like search Roman style and there's like 100 threads. You can search Detroit style, 100 threads. So just making this pizza, having these pizza parties, people are like, oh, your pizza's pretty good. It's getting good. It's getting good. So, and then everywhere I traveled, I'd like try to find a pizza place. So I was just getting super into it.
Mm-hmm.
And then, you know, my relationship fell apart. I had to move out of this house in Berkley. And kind of all I had left at that point was like my love of pizza. And like serving people the food specifically then like really rejuvenated my soul.
Right.
So
pizza saved your life.
Pizza, maybe it did. Maybe I mean, I don't think I was like, I don't think I would have like that, like, you know, done something like that. But I was definitely very sad.
Right.
But yeah, I started making pizza at home through that. And then once that happened, I was like, I'm going to put everything into this. So I was actually going to go to Tony Gengemani's pizza school.
Okay.
And my friend Jeff, again, in a stroke of genius, was like, don't waste your money on that. Go buy this thing. He sent me a link to like one of the original uni ovens that only took wood pellets.
Right.
He's like, go buy this. You'll make good pizza on there. Like, and I'll help you out. So I started making pizzas.
God bless this man.
I know, he's the man.
You got to bring him on here.
Philly.
Yeah.
High-Low Tacos is opening pretty soon.
Okay.
But yeah, he taught me how to, like with the unis. And then at some point, I was sort of couch surfing for a couple months while my, like, she was moving out. I was getting my shit into storage, trying to figure out like what was next for me. Because I dated this girl for like 6 years. We moved cross country. We got engaged. Like we were planning a wedding. There was had a whole different path.
Mm-hmm.
I honestly thought I was going to be like a stay-at-home dad, straight up.
Okay.
Yeah. But
saved your life.
Saved my life.
Yeah.
Thank you. But yeah, I got the uni.
Are you a dad right now?
No.
Okay.
Not dad.
You trying to do that?
It's a contentious topic with my girlfriend now. But
okay, got it.
I think when I met Tess, who I love,
right.
we both said no. And now I like look at the world and I hear all the stories and it's kind of hard to like fathom bringing another person into that shit.
Right.
Yeah.
But
I forgot there was a movie I saw recently. Oh no, you ever see season 1 of True Detective?
No, but I've heard it's amazing.
Yeah, well, okay, Matthew McConaughey, incredible in that show. Probably in my opinion, one of his best acting performances. But he plays this like dark fucking character, and he has this one line where, because I think his character, spoiler alerts, but his character
it's been 10 years,
his character, spoiler alert, bro. His character like lost his daughter and his wife,
right,
and he was talking to Woody Harrelson about how he like was dating again, and Woody Harrelson's like, you want a family, you want a kid? He's like, why would I? What's the line? It's something about like undead souls have no burden. So why would I bring one of those to life for that burden?
Right.
I don't think my views are that aggressive, but the world is so fucked right now.
Right.
Where I'm kind of just like,
well, I think you have a chance to clean a soul. Right. So like, if there's all these souls flowing around, that are out there in the ether, I think every time something is born, a soul is dedicated to that.
Damn.
Whatever it is. If it lived a prior life, whatever, it might have been a rock.
Right.
Who knows, right?
Yeah.
But that's why I think when people say generational trauma, I really do think that shit is true.
100%.
You know, and at the end of the day, we are all products of like war, death, and just the most insanely horrible things that you can ever imagine.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Now we sit up on top of the mountain and we can say, okay, these things are bad, these things are good.
Right.
You know what I mean?
True.
But I don't know, man. I think that there's a lot of not great people making kids.
Yeah.
And I think that's...
So you have to like battle them?
Yes.
Interesting.
100%. It's a human race. Like, we need more passionate, really smart people making kids.
Yeah.
And so, like, when we were talking about what success is, I've worked for
that's what my girlfriend basically is saying.
Yeah, I've worked for some high net worth people.
Yeah,
that have kids.
Yeah,
and like that level of success requires that you have nannies, right?
Right.
When I watch these kids interact with these nannies, I finally understand what's happening.
What's happening?
Like, they are creating the next world's leaders.
And
right? So these kids are bossing people around from the time that they're fucking 3 years old.
That's pretty fucked up.
You know, and it's all training. It's like I watched this 6-year-old kid go up to a nanny and be like, "Why'd you put my toy in the wrong place?" And the nanny was like, legitimately like, "I am so sorry."
Yes, chef.
Yeah, you know what I mean? And I'm like, what kind of backward shit? Because that dude's going to do that to one of his employees 20 years from now.
Sure.
You know, and it's going to be this same thing. Like, that same, like, I'm comfortable with you because you're my nanny.
Right.
Like, that is what makes, like, overt privileged people. You know? And now you're going to talk down to people.
Yes.
And so, I don't know, seeing that, I'm like, this is not success. So out there's a lot of people right now who are like...
Yeah, but that kid is like 95% more likely to be successful.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah,
for sure. It is my hope that kid is like the one that fixes plastic pollution troubles.
I mean, some of those kids grow up like, because I grew up in an area like that, right? And I have pieces of that in my life too.
Right.
I've transcended my own privilege, David. Like no, I'm just fucking around. But like, I know people like that like truly like that carry so much guilt,
right?
That they're like, I'm in nonprofits now, and it's like it's so performative they don't even realize,
right?
But that their whole life has been like that,
right? And
I don't think those people change, bro.
No,
and you need to be exposed to shit to change.
You know what I've realized doing this podcast too is sometimes my level of conversation is too intensely deep for people, and not everyone is willing to have hard conversations all the time about like existentialness. What does life mean? And I think I'm always constantly like thinking like that. I don't know if it's because of this podcast and because I've talked to so many souls.
Yeah.
And I feel like I learn a little bit every time. And then the person leaves here. Like, there's very few times where you will tell your whole life story.
Right.
Very few.
Yeah.
Unless you write a book or something.
Yeah.
Right. So this in and of itself, this practice of podcasting is very weird.
Yeah, fair.
And
I mean, look,
like,
this going back to stand-up, like, I did it for long enough, and even if I knew I wasn't going to do it for a living or I would ever be great, I started at that very vulnerable place. Because the one thing that I kind of connected with right away is, like, you had to try to be real. And I told a lot of embarrassing shit and a lot of embarrassing real stories. Like, I wasn't fabricating it. It was just like, these are funny, but probably also sad, traumatic things that happened to me.
Right.
That I think have made me.
Mm-hmm.
And it definitely got me very comfortable talking like this.
Yeah.
You know?
There's people that are not down with that.
Most people are not.
Yeah,
exactly. Most people are very closed
like,
off. Oh, like, let's not go there. Or like,
or they know it's there,
right.
but they don't want to go there. And then there's the other people that don't know this other land exists.
Yeah.
And I really do think that.
So that kid, the kid you're talking about who's bossing his nanny, like, where does he fall?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know where a kid like that falls that's so sheltered.
Yeah.
That like has so much structure in his life that like everything is calculated.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's weird, man. People like that, you meet people like that, you're like, what the are you a robot?
What are you? Yeah. You're like fabricating a robot.
Yes.
You know, because these people that have all the money are tech people.
Right.
And like tech people are thinking on a way different plane than everybody.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like, what does Mark Zuckerberg's kid, what's that kid going to be like? You know?
Well, those people shouldn't reproduce. How about that? Like, please don't.
It's gonna get weird. It's gonna get weird. You know, I don't know. I do think they should reproduce because there's always also too the kid who's like, "Fuck my dad, fuck Facebook.
Sure,
like I'm doing this, so I'm gonna be a farmer." Okay, cool. Yeah, I want Mark Zuckerberg money going to his kid who's now like, "Fuck you, I'm starting a commune, a hippie commune farm." You know what I mean? We're gonna get fucking regenerative gases into the atmosphere. Fuck you, dad. So kind of part of me is like, I hope that bad people have kids so they can break that cycle.
Yeah.
It won't happen like overnight,
you
know, because most likely you're going to fall into the same cycle your parents did.
Well, yeah, you're right.
You know, but like with more people, you have more of a chance, right?
I guess.
We have more of a chance.
I don't know. And I mean, like, bro, the way that our area, for example, just take the Bay Area.
Yeah.
There's so much money here.
Yeah.
So much fucking money here. Everywhere I've lived, there's such a huge wealth inequality, but right next door to each other. You know what I mean? Like, we're in Oakland right now. Mm-hmm. Like, you go a couple miles either direction, you can be in the wealthiest neighborhood and you can be in the worst neighborhood.
Right.
Like, how is that possible?
Yeah.
Like, there is enough resources. There is enough food. There's enough books. I don't know about teachers, but there's enough books. Like, there's enough internet. Mm-hmm. There's enough computers. We throw these things out every fucking day. Like, how do these gaps still exist?
Right.
I truly can't understand it. Like, it doesn't matter how many pizzas Square Pie Guys can donate, how many people that don't have money that we can give food to. Maybe it's making a small impact on that person's day. And that's like what I try to focus on for my own just like soul.
Right.
It's like, I'm going to change what I can touch. Exactly. But like, other than that, how is it still happening?
Right. It's almost like you can't fix it because the people that could truly fix it aren't fixing it. And it's
but I mean, I guess like to the point of this kind of like, or are they just doing like, they're just people that are only as good as human nature, but with a lot of resources, right?
Right.
All they're going to do is have their kid have one more nanny. You know, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, and even if because someone like Mark Zuckerberg, if you look at his tax statement or whatever, I'm sure he donates more money than you and I will ever make in our lives.
Right.
But what the fuck is it doing?
Exactly. What is it helping? Nothing.
Yeah. It's crazy. That's mind blowing. That's why to me, I'm like, do we need more people? Like, I don't think so.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I think the world will always like cycle it out. I don't know. I think because we live in cities, we think that everything's overpopulated.
Sure.
But literally all of middle America is like just barren.
You know? That's right.
And so I also think the California bubble, like our news is tech, entertainment. So we're constantly pumped full of news.
Right.
You know, and it's like, I know that there's people in the Midwest who have no idea who these certain like famous podcasters are.
Sure.
Or artists or movies.
Yeah.
They just don't give a shit.
You watch the news?
You know? I watch Breaking Points with Crystal and Sagar.
I know that is.
So it's a YouTube. It's independent. And they battle mainstream media.
Got you.
So they report on obviously what's going on but they look at different perspectives, and it's also the woman's on the right and the guy's on the left.
Interesting.
So they both debate each other on, you know, and so I think that they're doing the best job of independent media.
Wow.
Because it's unbiased. And when it is biased, they're like, okay, now we're going to be biased. Now we're going to have discussion time.
Yeah.
This is the news. This is discussion time.
Yeah, but their platform of choice is YouTube, and YouTube sells ads to mainstream media.
There you go.
So
no matter what you do, like even this podcast, like no matter what you do, you're still like
stuck to capitalism.
If you drive a BMW, if you wear Pumas, somewhere along the line, someone got fucked over in order to make that business a reality.
100%.
And so I'm just sitting here like, well, if you can't beat them, join them. You know?
Yeah, I guess so. Or spawn someone else.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Because like I look at restaurants and I'm like, oh, you know, I want to open a restaurant where we don't use any plastic containers.
Yeah.
That's wishful thinking, bro. You can't afford it. You simply cannot afford it. Yeah. And if I'm going to pay...
As you have your stack of delis right
exactly.
there. Yeah.
That's why I have them here as a reminder of like where the fuck... This is what we are right here. And truly, I have this theory.
Yeah.
Check this out. Okay, so the only reason why we can date the world back to where we can date it to right now is because all we have to live on is cave drawings. Because no matter what, rock formations are like, they won't go away. Right. You know, the cave will be there for years and years and years until it erodes and collapses, right? I think that we have had this world that we're living in before, right? We have had computers. There's been shit like this, right? But because when the world ends and there's millions and millions of years in between, like when the new formation of the world comes in, it all becomes minerals again. It all becomes tiny little particles of rock. So what I'm saying is if the universe is really what they say, and it's like everything is already kind of here, then the plastic's already here. The computers are already here. Everything is already here.
Interesting.
So, like, if we're looking at plastic as like, oh, this devil thing, but honestly, I think that we don't know what it takes to run a country. We simply don't.
No, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So we don't know President Biden's job. We don't know fucking Putin's job. How do we know God's job? You know? How are we going to sit here and try to fathom what the fabric of reality is and how far back it goes?
Yeah.
I truly think that.
But then what is like?
I just think we're way older than we are, and this civilization has happened 4 or 5 times already.
Fair.
You know, and we don't see that because every time the world collapses, the only thing left is fucking the rock formations, the pyramids, that is what's left. And so that is what tells us like, oh, cool, society.
Yeah, I mean, like, I will just come out and say, like, I believe carbon dating on the face of it. I have done no research to validate what carbon dating is.
And I don't either.
I have no fucking clue. So
and like,
I won't debate that with you. It doesn't feel correct to me.
No.
but I have no clue what I'm talking about.
But nobody does.
Yeah. I mean, that is fair.
Like, even scientists that are well esteemed are still saying, we don't know. Like, this is our best guess.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Because, like, what, Big Bang or whatever.
That's what I mean. It's our best guess. And that's why I think...
You feel like Neil deGrasse Tyson would be so mad at you right now?
Oh, for sure. Yeah. For sure. Like, because he's a special case and I feel like why he is so who he is because he has finite opinions.
Yes.
On a thing that you shouldn't really. And that's why the most, like, the critics, Bauer, right? That's why they survive, because they have finite opinions.
Right.
And so when it comes to this type of show, and honestly, I spent my time in Palm Springs working for, like, these 80-year-old dudes who, like, basically created the infrastructure of, like, Southern California business.
Wow.
Like, these dudes are fucking legit business guys.
Yeah.
And, like, when you're at that level, human emotion doesn't apply to you.
Yeah, I agree with that.
And so when
it's like the guy I used to caddy for at his personal golf course. Yeah.
And like when you work at a restaurant, human emotion is your business.
Huh.
That's what you're affecting.
Yeah.
They came there because they got
what if your customer is that rich guy that has no emotions?
Right. So
which happens pretty much every night, right?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
But it's crazy their perspective on the food like sometimes is better than the person that has the feeling. And it switches off. Sometimes vice versa.
Sometimes those people that just see things like very black and white, very emotionless, I don't know if they're right or wrong, but they don't have any pretense.
Right.
So they don't care. They're just like, this isn't good.
Yeah.
And you're like, what do you mean? I spent hours on this. Like, no, I don't like it.
Right.
And because they have more money than you or whatever, or they're respected, like, I guess I got to fix it.
Right.
Like,
you know
what I'm saying?
Yeah. There's a certain level of experience that comes from having a shit ton of money.
Sure.
You know, and like
it certainly opens a lot of doors.
Oh, for sure. And it just gives you another perspective into the world that not a lot of us have. So seeing that from the outside looking in and seeing like everybody thinks that $1 million is success. Like, no, these people have all the money in the world and they have to run their house like a business.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it doesn't work.
Yeah.
And then, like, the thing we were talking
they
about...
They don't have to.
That's... But, I mean, if you think about, like, they're trying to build, like, generational, like, full-on power here.
You think... Yeah, but I feel like those people are just so innately motivated, and a part of this, like, this thing you pick up on, which is, like, a little bit of, like, lack of emotion or empathy, I don't even know if they're even, like... Because I've known guys, not guys, but like, I guess friends of my parents and those parents' friends, like, who are so successful, and they have like kids that don't even give a fuck about their kids. You know what I mean? They're like, here's a couple mil, go to private school, leave me alone. Like, you know, like there's like this whole, it is a different life, but I don't even think they're thinking their generational wealth building is just for their fucking ego.
Right.
It's not because they care about, like, if that's like a great problem to have, that side effect that, oh, my kid will never have to work.
Right.
Like, I don't know. I am not speaking I haven't spoken to these people directly about it, but the vibe I sometimes get is like, it's just about them. It's not about, it's just because they want to win and win and win and be like the number one.
They want to win after you're dead.
They want to win until they die.
Right.
Till the day they fucking die.
Yeah.
Like they want to make that last stock trade on their bed and be like, that's a $2 billion. And then they croak. Like
right.
You know what I mean?
It's like, I don't know, hanging out around with a lot of business people and like in sales for you, like some people are addicted to the sale.
100%.
Like addicted to like they get a rush. Like yes, you know.
It is a great rush. It truly is. It's fucking dope.
It is
100%.
For sure. I think those are some people that have a very unhealthy relationship with it, and those are the who's that guy, Jordan Belfort's a hard time. You know what I mean? Like,
there was a period when I idolized that guy, and
right.
we would be on the phones, and I'd be like, it was just like every fucking movie. You're like, hey, close the deal, and like a million high fives. And I was like, hell yeah, like truly,
yeah.
And I, you know, I made myself like $100, and I was like, I fucking did it. Like,
right.
That lady's gonna give a manicure tonight, and she's gonna be so thrilled about the software she bought.
Yeah,
and I was like, fuck yeah, like. But then you hang up that phone, and it's like, gotta do 10 more of those,
right?
Or you get fired. Like
cutthroat
as fuck.
But that
breeds a certain type of person.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I don't know. Sometimes the negative reinforcement is like necessary.
It goes back to the kitchen combo.
Yeah. I don't know. There's a lot of people that are working in food who should not be touching food. Like I used to work at Meadowood, you know. There was a guy in the banquet kitchen. I'd always see him in the bathroom. Apron on. Like literally would lift it up, go pee in the urinal with his apron on, right?
Yikes.
Shake his hands off, walk right out.
Oh my God.
Not wash his hands, not nothing.
Damn.
Right? Could I have gotten in his face and been like, wash your fucking hands? Of course.
Yeah.
What would that have done? That would have been an altercation all day.
Right.
Right? But that guy isn't the only one that's doing that in the whole world, right? And that's why I believe there needs to be discipline, because when you don't have discipline, that's the guy that's going to be making your food.
Sure.
And I will be damned if I'll be eating dick tasting pizza. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just like, come on, bro. We don't need that shit. There's already enough meat lovers out there.
Oh, dude.
You know?
Okay, say that one for your stand-up.
Love that. So, Square Pie guys. What? How does it go from pop-up to brick and mortar?
So that whole breakup thing happened. I get the uni oven. I'm like pitching bars in Oakland. I get a place called Lost and Found that I don't think exists anymore on Telegraph. They let me do a pop-up, and I went down in a heap of flames for the most part, like just stacked up with tickets. My friend Jeff helped me, but it was a pellet burning oven. And like I'd made like 3 at a time for like a group of friends. Like to try to do like 50.
Yeah.
You had to like keep that flame going, and it was a nightmare, but it was a good lesson. Anyway, pop-ups, I started to get better at them. I registered myself on like Feastly, started selling like private menus, got a place in the city with a roommate, was making food out of there and bringing it to the Feastly venues. It's cool. 2018, I set a goal to like have a permanent pop-up. And then I also got a job working at Pizza Hacker, which is in the Mission. Meanwhile, my friend Jeff, the guy who's pretty key to the story, honestly, he started working at a place called the Culinary Edge, which is like a restaurant consulting group down in Soma.
Right.
And right around that same time, Danny, who I guess was my business partner, he was getting hired there, and he was working for my friend Jeff. So I met Danny. I was working at Pizza Hacker. All these sort of things happen around the same like 2-year period from like end of 17 to, or I guess end of 16 to 2018. But I would work nights at Pizza Hacker, kept my day job, kept doing the pop-ups, kept doing the Feastly stuff.
Round the clock.
Just was hustling because I was single.
Right.
I had nothing else going on besides like trying to like get into better shape to find a new girl.
Work on you, baby.
Work on me,
yeah,
baby.
You're dating.
Yeah, new me, dating, making pizza. Making connections, chatting.
Making pizza naked. Hopefully you don't get hot pizza sauce on your.
Never happened. I can't. I won't even go there.
I've ironed naked one time.
Terrible.
Touch the thing right on it, bro.
Wow.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
You have a nice mark on there now?
Yeah. No, it's gone now. But it lived there for a long time.
Damn.
I freaked out for a little bit.
Well, you did it to yourself, no?
You know? Yeah. And I'm like, did I just self-mutilate?
Yeah, but yeah, technically,
so
yes.
if you're ever ironing, I love to do things naked around the house, but
that's cool.
Don't iron. Make coffee, maybe, but do not iron.
Deep fry ice.
It's refreshing.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, shit. I kept that, and then Pizza Hacker basically was like, bro, you don't know what you're doing. Not good enough. He put me on Salad Station, which was good, and then he had a pop up on Thursday and Friday at a place called the Vinyl Wine Bar, which is on Division Oak, on the Lower Haight, or like Nopa Lower Haight area. and he sent me there. He's like, you want to make pizza? I can't put you on my line because you're too slow and you suck. Go make pizza there. He essentially intonated that he didn't really care what happened there.
Right.
So I ran that for like a couple months, just all on me. I remember plenty of nights where I was like, fuck, I do suck.
Is this what I want to do?
Yeah, like this is fucking hard. I'm fucking schlepping all these, Cambros and this like big Lexan box full of shit and the dough boxes, and I'm schlepping them back and forth from the restaurant, going to sleep at like midnight, 1 a.m., waking up, going to work the next day. But at the same time, I also kind of loved it. It gave me like such a purpose.
Right. Was your other job suffering, your day job?
Not really, because like sales for me was autopilot at that point, and like, you can really game, and sorry to all my previous bosses, but you can really game that system, especially if you come with a certain level of seniority. You find a company that's like a startup that like if you go to especially, it was like, it's kind of an interesting thing about tech, and no shade to anyone getting laid off in tech right now. It sucks. I get it. Like, not easy to do, but at the same time, there definitely were a lot of jobs out there that did not need to be filled. Like, I'll just say that in a way, like where a tech company raises a certain round of funding, and to prove to their board that they're going to like execute the plan that they pitched to raise the money, they go and hire a bunch of people. You know what I'm saying? They're like, hey, give me another 100 mil. I'm going to build a sales team.
Right. So
you just become a pawn in the game. So your performance almost doesn't matter.
Really?
Does that make sense?
Okay. Yeah.
Like, and that's not that's sort of what happened to me. I did sell some deals because I needed the money, and I did it. And I was like, had enough experience at that point that I was good enough at it. But at the same time, like, there were definitely a couple months where I like didn't close shit. And then, but at the same time, they needed, like, there are people doing worse than me, and they also needed to maintain a certain headcount. So they went to their board meeting. They'd say, our sales team is this many people, So that, I don't think that still exists anymore in today's environment.
Right.
But there's definitely a prime period where people were like getting investment and had to go build teams. And I happened to find myself at a company sort of like that.
Heard that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, but that was good. I mean, certainly very lucky to have that kind of opportunity to not have so much pressure on the day job,
Right.
And the company I was with at this time actually was even a little more wacky. It was a company that was based out of the Czech Republic.
Okay.
And what they had like software developers in the Czech Republic whose hourly rate was a lot lower than American software developers. And they would make a margin on that gap. And they would basically find startup entrepreneurs in the Bay Area who weren't technical, didn't know how to code. And my job would be to meet them, network with them, and be like, oh, you want to build your, financial tech app? I got this guy in the Czech Republic. He'll do it for half the rate.
Really?
So that was my job, and it was remote. It was a remote job before people like had remote jobs.
Right.
My boss was in LA, and there was like 2 other kids in LA and like 1 kid in the middle of the country. But we were all managed by this Czech company. So like I was straight up making dough in the basement of a bar in the Lower Haight while on sales calls because I didn't have to go to an office.
Right.
So that was definitely very helpful. But at the same time, like that company was trying to like show they could sell, show they can open a US office.
Game the system.
So I was a pawn in that game, right? I was like one head on that team. And again, some of the people on my team were just not as good at it. And they suffered more than I did, but could I have done better at sales for sure? You know what I mean? Like, yeah. But I was so deep in pizza. I loved it. But where was I? Pizza Hacker. That he basically was like, I'm not going to do the wine bar anymore.
Right.
I started working at Pizzeria Delfina in Burlingame.
Okay.
On Saturdays and Sundays.
Did people know what you were doing? When you were like, hey, showing up to work at these pizza places?
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure. Because I use my Instagram to kind of get some of these jobs.
Right.
And were
they like 420? Get the fuck out of here.
No. Honestly, more like at the sales job, like my old boss would be like, that's pretty cool. Like, he's like kind of a dweeb. He'd be like, oh, 420. Oh, you smoked a ganj? Like, he's kind of like,
I do too.
Like Dave Chappelle doing a white guy.
Yeah,
Dave Chappelle's news anchor. Like that was my boss. Oh yeah, marijuana. But yeah, I mean, I Delfino is really where I understood what the restaurant business really was. I was doing my pop-ups. I was running the pop-up for Pizza Hacker. I was doing these feastly meals. No clue about like food costing or ordering like from a supplier or what it meant. Right. I was just like,
well, you had your day job making your money for you, so it wasn't 100%. Like you had to,
didn't have to worry about it. And granted, like I wasn't an idiot. Like I could look at the menu of a restaurant and go build a Feastly menu and tell a cool story about like this guy who works in tech who moonlights in pizza and sell a ticket to a chef's dinner to people in tech who like respected my hustle.
That's sexy, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sexy story.
It's a good story.
So I'm sure I wasn't losing money, but I had no clue if I was like taken up in any way. But it was certainly enough to sustain. And there were definitely some weeks when I did those Feastly things and a Popup where I'd be like, oh, my bank account looks decent. Like, that's cool, you know? But Delfino was like the shit for me. That's where I had like a 6-month sprint working there basically. And I worked 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. Saturday, Sunday. I worked the pizza oven, pizza station, was doing like 400 pizzas a day.
Damn.
That was cool.
Right.
And I worked under like a real chef that like, no one was actually an amazing guy. I think he's in Texas now, this guy, Tony. I think he was their sort of like head of training. He was a chef himself, but he like did the training for Delfino. That guy was awesome. Super nice to me. And it was one of those things where like the industry at that point, like 2018, 2019, they were starting to like need warm bodies. It wasn't like they had a stack of resumes, you know? And when they opened Burlingame, I think they needed help. And I was living in Pack Heights. I had this sick deal, this rent control department in Pack Heights. And I went to pitch Pizzeria Delfino in Pack Heights, which does killer business. Like, we don't need you. We have 10 seasoned guys ahead of you. Like, we just opened Burlingame. They need help. Like, would you drive down there? I'm like, yeah, I'll drive down there. So I'd just wake up every morning on the weekends, go down there, work, 10-hour shift.
Damn.
Yeah.
Okay.
And kept doing the pop-ups. Yeah. Just like kept grinding.
When did you, during all of this, when are you like, oh, I'm fucking good at making pizza? Like, where you like real, because there's always that time where you're
I don't think I still don't feel that way. Like, for example, like, I think I'm pretty good, but don't get me wrong, but what I mean is like, when I was just in New York.
Right.
And I went to a couple pizza spots. I shot some content for my Instagram.
Okay.
And people know who I am now in the pizza game.
Right. Are you known by El Presidente?
No, definitely not. Definitely not. Dave Fortnite.
Is that a big thing for you?
The pizza world?
Yeah.
I kind of dread if he comes because he so doesn't get the climate of San Francisco. Right. So he'd probably dog me for so many different things. Right. Because we charge a healthcare fee or we charge you for ranch. Okay. And like Detroit style is not his favorite style. He likes like crispy New Haven style, essentially. Right. You know what I mean? So I think he would just dog me. But whatever. I don't, if he comes, he comes.
I hope he dogs you, Chef. I hope he comes and has a fucking horrible time.
I'm ready for it. Can you hear me? I'm talking myself out of it already.
At some point, I think Barstool is going to take Sucio Talk. So we'll see. I don't know.
Okay, we'll see. Yeah. So you should say something nice about it. Yeah, you're right. There you go. Yeah.
It doesn't matter. The thing is with that dude, I feel like you don't have to be nice to him. I feel like you could just be yourself.
I don't know. I've seen plenty of his reviews where he's like, I don't want to give his now. I think like there was a period when he would be like, I don't give a shit either way.
Right.
But now, especially after the pandemic, when he did all this time supporting small business, if anyone's nice to him, or goes over the top to be nice, I think he like bumps up their score.
Right.
Because he'll even talk about it. He'll be like, I don't want to dog this guy. He's so nice.
Right.
But the thing is I probably won't be there. So I got a lot of faith in my team.
That they'll be like, yo, Portnoy's here.
No, I don't even know about that. I just that they'll make good pizza.
Yeah. Oh, your fucking operation is solid.
Yeah.
Okay. Everybody knows that.
But going back, I mean, I'll condense it and basically just say like, maybe let me answer your question about do I make good pizza. Basically, I just saw this guy in a New York pizzeria stretching the most beautiful 20-inch pizza, like perfectly round, perfect consistency to the thinness of the crust, banging them out one after the other, like. And I was like, "How long do you work here?" Like 25 years. I'm like, bro, I'm never gonna like this. Like my Jim Gaffigan moment.
Yeah.
I'm never gonna be that good.
But that didn't turn you away from it.
No.
So that's like the growth.
100%. That's what I would love to be able to like I can pick up a dough and make you a bomb pizza. Don't get me wrong. But like to stretch it like that perfectly,
right,
to that size, because it especially depends. If it's like a lower hydration dough, it's a little easier. Like it has more strength to it necessarily. But
got you.
A wetter dough, some people can stretch a really wet dough perfectly. That to me, I'm like kind of mind blown sometimes.
So what to you makes the perfect pizza?
So obviously we do Detroit style, but I love like a really thin pizza. I love a thin, crispy pizza.
Okay.
I don't like a Neapolitan bake. I respect it. There's a time for it. If you're in Naples, go eat it. Enjoy it. It's going to be delicious. It's going to be fresh. There's something quality about Neapolitan style that is amazing.
Right.
But for me, I love crunch. I love texture.
Mm-hmm.
I want a little bit of like a couple different like cheeses, like a dry cheese, a pecorino or a grana padano. I want like a bit of a sweeter tomato, and I just want a thin, crispy pizza.
And you are,
and I want it to be like 18 inches. I want a big
Okay,
slice.
you like big slices.
Yeah,
okay.
for sure.
Got it.
That's when so at my house or my apartment rather, I have like a baking steel that's like 20 by 22.
Okay.
And I try to launch as big of a pie as I can put in there. I can get an 18-inch pizza in my oven.
Oh.
And like that's what I want to make all day. If I would do it again or open a restaurant that wasn't like such an operation, wasn't so business minded, I think I would just do big pies. Just the biggest pies. The biggest, thinnest pies I could do.
Biggest, thinnest pies.
Yeah. That's what I want.
Damn.
Yeah.
I think you should do it.
Yeah. I think I will one day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That'd be dope.
Yeah.
Crazy. Why square?
When I was getting into this whole thing after the breakup and I met Danny and the whole thing, I was always playing with every style at home. This goes back to the thing you said about like the chef who goes home and cooks. Like, I don't know. I didn't think of myself that way. I just love pizza. But I was reading the forum all the time. I was seeing all these different styles on Instagram. I wanted to try them all, try my hand at all of them. So I started fucking with the Detroit style. And I think also at the same time, like working at Pizza Hacker, seeing the landscape in San Francisco, working at Pizzeria Delfina. I mean, 2 different restaurants for sure. But if you looked at their pizzas, just completely uninformed, but a Pizza Hacker pizza and a Delfina pizza, they're both their margaritas. Someone would probably look at those and be like, those are pretty, that's the same style of pizza.
Right.
You know what I mean? And there's probably like 10 places in the Bay Area or even in San Francisco alone that make, roughly like what, like a 12, 13-inch round pizza. They're doing it. I guess pizza is pretty standardized in some ways.
Yeah.
And no one was really doing a pan pizza. Like Tony's on North Beach did a pan pizza, and his Slice Houses did a pan pizza, and a couple other places definitely did a pan pizza, but they weren't focusing on it.
Okay.
I was playing with the style. One thing I love about Detroit style is you actually get like pieces of every style of pizza in one pizza. And what I mean by that is like the bottom of the Detroit style being fried in the pan, you get that like crispy, crunchy texture.
Okay.
The side of it, you get that like fried cheese thing going on that you might get with like a bar style, or even when you reheat a pizza and you get that like it pulls out in the pan.
Right.
That's like a texture. In the middle, where the sauce is more saucy, you get some like Neapolitan sort of like wetness and combination of tomato and cheese. So you're getting like all these things in one bite. You know what I mean? So that's something that I just appreciate about Detroit style. But the truth of the matter is, I saw the opportunity that no one was doing it. And I got booked for a private gig at the wine bar where we had our pop-up vinyl wine bar.
Okay.
And the guys came to taste for the private gig. This is before Danny and I had partnered. I had sold my pop-up at the time I was doing like New York rounds and 14-inch pizza. I was basically doing like my version of a Delfina Pizza Hacker hybrid and slices at this wine bar. And these guys came for this event. I had sold out. The owner didn't tell me anyone was coming to taste my food. And he shows up. He's like, these guys have a wedding. They want to try our pizza. It's here next week. They're going to book you. Like, I was like, I don't have any pizza left.
Right.
But I do have these 3 Detroit pans. I have 3 pans to my name.
Right.
I have these 3 pans that I'm just like fucking with. Like, they want to try my sauce. They want to try my cheese, like how I build a pizza. So that's what I served them. I served them these Detroit pans, and they loved it. They're like, this is what we want at our event. I was like, I don't have enough pans to do 50 people.
Right.
So they said, just give me a quote. And so I like went online. I was like, this is how much I need, 30 pans. I put it into the quote, and they said, sure. So they bought those. The first 30 Square Pie Guys pans were bought because these guys booked me for a wedding.
Right.
To do Detroit style pizza.
Dope.
Because I had run out.
Right.
And it's funny, like I used to live in Emeryville. They were my neighbors in Emeryville. I saw them like walking their dog one day, and I like pulled my car over. And I was like, dude, you don't know how like important you are to me. Like,
right.
You started this whole thing.
Yeah.
But that was really it. Like those first 30 pans, sort of having this understanding of like that Detroit style would stand out. Me and Danny were becoming good friends at the time, and he was working for this company, Culinary Edge, and they essentially do consulting for like fast casual style restaurants. So he had this like mindset of like the restaurant business from that perspective. And I was at he had a July 4th party. I think it was probably summer of 2018. And I said to him, I was like, Detroit style fast casual. This is like 3 weeks after this wedding.
Right.
And he's like, great idea. Let's do it.
Crazy.
And now we just like shook hands.
Shook hands and did it.
Did it.
How many spaces did you look at before you like settled?
I think I can remember like 5 or 6 that we looked at. But basically what happened was is I stopped doing my pop-up. I always had the handle Square Pie Guy on Instagram. So I sort of had the brand name. I was like, should we do that? He's like, yep. Clearly the pluralization was still there. So we took that. And then we converted the pop-up. The pop-up took off. Somehow, like in November of 2018, Eater found out about us. I still to this day don't know how. Probably because we were in a good neighborhood. We were like right in Nopa.
Fucking Eaters everywhere, those guys.
Good. It helped me a lot. Yeah. But they put us on like the pop-up of the year like nomination for 2018. It was like us. We lost to Horn Barbecue. That was it. 2018. We came in second.
Damn.
Yeah. But like that nomination came out in November, and we started doing Square Pie Guys at the pop-up in September. So I don't know. There wasn't. I guess 2018 was a light year for pop-ups. I don't know.
Yeah, it was.
Who was the guy? There was a Filipino food guy too, that was pretty hot around that time. Forget his business name, but he was like, I remember we did a pop-up at Anina, which is in Hayes Valley.
Right.
And he had been like the regular guy there. I don't want to say the wrong thing here.
It's all good.
It was like called like Pinoy Heritage or something like that. Something I don't know. I'm butchering it for sure. But
that's the reason we need the after service post conference roundtable Sucio Talks.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, because
like the post game.
Yeah, you do these fucking pop ups, and it's just like next one.
Yeah,
and like it's such an important thing.
Truly,
like there's only and I only know this from doing events with Thomas Keller. I've done, not that I worked at his restaurant, but we were close, so we would do events with him. And he always would say, like, this is not the last time we'll do an event, but this is probably the last time some of us will ever work together.
For sure.
Yeah. And I think that, like, documenting that and keeping that time in place. Because even if shit happens later on, you can still go back and be like, oh, look at that.
Well, bro, I mean, that was part of the brilliance of what Square Pie Guys was when it started.
Yeah.
Was because Danny was super experienced and talented with building the operation, how the kitchen should flow, how the business would work. And I was just like very into documenting and being creative. And that's how I built the social media.
Right.
Like you can go back on our you can look at Square Pie Guys from 2018. You can see all these events I'm talking about.
Everything.
Like, it's all there still.
Right.
So it's kind of cool. Like if you think about it, like,
right. That's the coolest part about Instagram.
But even at the time, I was like, "This is why we're doing this," because I want to we should look back one day.
Yeah.
But from the get, when we said Detroit style fast casual and we shook hands, we agreed that we would open more than one. Like that was always the goal.
Right.
It was never to just do one and like let it be our like baby. Like it was like this is a business.
Right. Do you want to grow out of California? Do you want to go to New York? Do you want to go?
I don't want to go to New York specifically. Not.
Do you want to go to Detroit? Are you going to show up over there and try to?
I don't think so. I actually haven't been to Detroit, so that is a problem.
All right.
Yeah. So
here on Sucio Talk, you heard it here first.
Yeah.
You don't have to go to Japan to make sushi. Okay.
Well, I want to go to Detroit. I mean, I'll tell you a funny story. The first week we were open in Soma, someone came in, they ate the pizza, and I went over to touch every table back in the day. And I'm like riding a high. Everyone's like, wow, the wings, wow, the pizza. But I get to this table, and there's three people at the table, and two people were like, it was really good. And one person like looked at me and was like, you're appropriating my pizza. I'm like, I think you're kidding, you know? And she's like, no, I'm from Detroit. Like, how can you do this here? And I was like, are you serious?
Right.
Like,
people are serious.
And she's like, yes.
Yeah,
and then like, and her friend, like, I kind of half expected her friends to be like, but she wasn't.
They're like, what are you going to do?
And I was like, oh my God. I'm so sorry. Like, do you want me to comp your meal? Like, what?
Yeah.
I had no idea what to do.
What did she want?
She just wanted to tell me. And then I kind of like walked away very uncomfortable.
Right.
And then I came back like 15 minutes later. I was like, your meal's on me. Like, sorry.
Yeah.
Like, didn't realize that was a thing I could be doing.
Get the fuck out of here with that. Come on.
That was always that's my moves, honestly. Like the same thing, maybe a couple months in, some guy was like freaking out about the size and didn't think it was good. I was like, cool, like I'll get you another pizza. If you're still hungry, I'll get you another pizza.
Right.
And then he had 2 slices. He's like, I still want the other pizza. I got him the other pizza. And then he boxed up a whole pizza.
Yeah.
And walked out.
And
I was like, well, whatever. You played me. I still don't feel like I lost that one, if that makes sense.
Right. It used to be that people complained after they tried the shit.
Yes.
Now they look at it and they're already like, doesn't look good.
Oh my God.
Somewhere along the line, someone was
painful.
like, people eat with their eyes.
Yeah.
I understand that principle.
Yes.
But I feel like sometimes we're teaching people that.
Yeah.
People eat with their eyes. So as soon as you see something that's unattractive, you're like, ooh, that's why fucking Chang had to say ugly delicious. Okay, motherfuckers, like it doesn't always look beautiful.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, sure.
That little burnt piece of dough on the end of a pizza, that's the sexiest fucking part.
Sure.
Right? It's like, you love women, I love women.
Yeah.
The imperfections are the best things sometimes. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, if we've gone so far away from that it's like, what are we doing?
I don't know.
I
don't know. Well, I mean, also, people just come and they, you can't, especially with pizza, where like we all grew up on eating different pizzas and you have a different view of it. And that guy came in and was like, pizza should be this money for this much.
Right.
And like, what was I going to fight him over it?
Yeah. No. Well, maybe. Start beating the shit out of you guys.
That's how I ended up in the Michelin.
Yeah, exactly. Right? Yeah. Green star.
Yeah.
That's funny. So how many do you have right now?
We have 3.
3.
And then we're doing a little strategy this year where we're working with a company called Local Kitchens, which is a micro food hall, which is a fancy way of saying they operate essentially like ghost kitchens.
Okay.
And they work with like Wise Sons. They work with a bunch of other brands. They work with Sushi Rito, Proposition Chicken, a bunch of like fast casual brands.
Right.
And they repurpose like old Taco Bells or old Starbucks, like second-gen restaurants, and they cook food for other brands. So we basically have licensed our recipes to them, and they're cooking for us. And the food's amazing. I'm like super proud of it.
Right.
We went through pretty stringent testing with them over like 6 months to get the pizza to a good level where I was confident with it. But the good thing for us is like, look, we get to grow to new cities without having to spend, like without having to put so much risk on the business.
Right. You know? That works.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Will you ever go into frozen pizza?
We're working on it.
Okay.
Yeah. I think it's a big market.
It is.
Go ahead.
No, I just talked to somebody who said they went into it as like a fun thing during COVID, and then it turned into like this huge monster.
Was it John Darsky?
That now, no, it was a chef down in Redwood City.
Oh, cool.
But he's like, now we have like contracts with these huge supermarkets, and we're like, we had to build a fucking facility. It's
amazing.
It's like,
it's amazing.
Good problems to have.
Yeah, for sure.
What I mean,
I'll say it's hard. Like you give away so much margin to be in the retail game, but it's definitely helpful for like volume and top line for sure.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So what is the end goal with Square Pie Guys? Do you want to have a set amount of restaurants? Like, we're opening 10 or we're opening 15?
Yeah, I mean, I think people always like, I've had different answers to this question. I mean, to me, I try to look at things like the next 3 to 5 years.
Right.
And I think I'd like to, I know for sure, like Marin County, like Mill Valley, there could be a Square Pie Guys there. It would do well. Like Walnut Creek, it would do well.
Right. Would you franchise?
I sort of kind of am with this Local Kitchens thing. It's not like a full franchise in a way, but it's a license. Like it's someone else making our food. It's not my employees. You know, I don't know. I want to just kind of like see where the opportunities are.
Right. But Square Pie Guys Puerto Rico is what I'm saying,
dude. Why not?
Sucio franchise.
Damn, let's go.
That's what I'm saying, bro.
That's not what you want to do. Huh? You don't want to do.
That's not what I want to do. But it'd be a great business, thing to do.
What is pizza like in Puerto Rico?
Pedestrian, very like high school, it's all like frozen. Like DiGiorno's is like great pizza for them. Domino's is like killing it.
Wow.
Like that's like the shit.
Domino's is killing it.
Pizza Hut also over there. They have Pizza Hut, Burger King buffets.
Damn.
In Puerto Rico. So that's some real shit.
That's pretty bomb.
The pizza buffet.
Yeah,
bro, that's like a Tuesday.
Like a CC's.
That's like a Tuesday lunch thing.
Damn.
For sure. Well, it's like a CC's, and I don't know how CC's work. Do you pick the pizzas from a person, or do you go and get the
I think
pizza?
You go and put them on your plate.
Right. Yeah. So that's what it is.
Yeah.
And it's Burger King and Pizza Hut.
Wow.
So
is the Burger King also a buffet?
Yeah. You like order burgers at the counter, but then they have all the like fries and shit on the thing. Yeah.
Trippy.
Yeah. Fast food buffets is KFC buffet. There's one in Connecticut.
Damn.
Yeah. And like, I think we should bring buffets back.
Why not?
You know,
where do they go?
They
exist in malls and shit.
Yeah, mainly, but even like Northeast has a lot of Chinese buffets.
Yeah, they do.
But over here is very seldom that you see that.
Fair.
Walnut Creek actually has a really good one. I forget the name of it, but like just, buffet Walnut Creek.
Yeah.
You'll find it. You know what I'm saying?
It's like it's Chinese food. Yeah.
Is it full? Yes. Then that's how you know.
Yeah.
Because it's hard to fill restaurants, as you know.
Yeah.
You know?
It is hard.
So, crazy.
Yeah.
Well, Chef, I want to thank you for being on this show.
Oh, we're done?
Hell yeah. I mean, we don't have to be done. But
appreciate it, bro.
It's okay.
Yeah.
Well, there'll be more. We'll be panels, you know. Maybe we'll get you and another pizza guy on here to talk pizza.
Let's go to battles.
You know what I mean? Yeah. And then let's just go with this. When you're not at Square Pie Guys, what other pizzas are you eating in the Bay?
Great question. Definitely eating Rose Pizza.
Okay.
Rose Pizzeria in Berkley.
Mm-hmm.
State Flour Pizza on College Avenue.
Okay.
Mama's Boy in Oakland.
Heard.
Shit, I'm blanking out. Pizza Hacker is always amazing.
Mm-hmm.
The margarita from Delfina is like one of my favorites. Where am I saying? There's so many. Oh, fucking Pizza Mason.
Mm-hmm.
Popup. Dude's legit.
Okay.
There's so much good pizza. It's endless.
Yeah.
Polara in Berkeley, Roman style. State of Mind Pub down in the South Bay. It's got 3 of them. Pizzeria.
Yeah.
There's so much good pizza. This is the thing that I think is amazing. Is like there's so much good pizza.
So you're a pizza researcher.
100%.
You know?
Absolutely.
I asked Chef like what their favorite restaurants are. They're like, I don't know. You know what I'm saying? And you're like, fucking, you listed off 8, 9.
I love
your head,
pizza,
bro.
truly. Oh, Raymond's Pizza in the Richmond. You ever been there?
No.
Bro. Let's go on a pizza tour.
I'm just going to take this list and go to all these
You
places.
should. They're all bomb in different ways. And they're all different styles.
Right.
Yeah.
You know what kind of gets me now is it's all this gluten-free shit, right? You just get it harped on you that gluten is bad, right? So it makes you not want to try a pizza.
Oh, interesting. Well, you're a lot skinnier than me. So
yeah, for sure. Well, it makes you like, I'm going to go eat sushi. Or
Yeah,
I'm going to go... Like all this news and Instagram sometimes changes your perception of what you should be eating all the time.
Yeah.
Like, look, I'm not a fucking athlete. I'm not in the Olympics. Like, I don't need to not eat pizza.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's okay for me to feel like shit for a couple days.
True. I mean, I don't know if you are gluten sensitive or what, but like, bro, you go to these spots all do a long cold ferment. Like, it should not fuck you up because it's breaking down the flour. Like, it's breaking down the protein. The yeast is eating it away. Like, that's why it won't fuck you up.
So you would
some of these spots are naturally leavened, meaning like the yeast is the yeast from the air. It's
right.
It's already in your gut biome.
Yeah.
So it shouldn't fuck you up. It's the only reason that like a cheap pizza place fucks you up is because they're using a shit ton of commercial yeast. Mm-hmm. The rise is the same day. Like it's not a very well developed dough. They haven't broken down the proteins in the flour. Like it just hasn't happened yet.
So ultimately, for a great pizza, you need the best dough fermentation process.
Yeah.
And I really believe this, the water, I think, has a lot to do with it.
Yeah, I think any bread maker will tell you the same about the pH balance and certain minerals in the water. I personally don't inspect the water that way. Because I'm not, like, I think a lot of folks who are trying to like replicate a New York style, they'll buy like a certain water meter or a certain
New York
filtration.
Water.
Well, I'm serious. They'll buy like a fancy filtration system and try to match the pH
wild,
of New York water. Yeah. Or the mineral content of New York water.
Right.
I'm sure it makes a difference. Don't get me wrong, but I mean, I've made like that was when I first started making pizza. I would always like read online like the New York water. That's bullshit. Like I don't think that's true.
You don't think it's true? Okay.
I think it's true to an extent. I think what I mean is like if New York pizza is your reference and you are obsessed with replicating that, then yes, you probably need to figure out how to match that pH balance. But would it disqualify you from making an amazing pizza? Absolutely not. That's crazy. That's absurd.
Dope.
Same thing with bagels. Like there are good bagel shops here now.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think those people are importing water from New York or getting their pH and mineral levels to New York levels. They're just making good bagels. It's more about, again, the process of the dough, the fermentation. That's one of the more beautiful things about, I just said bread making. So you can take a bread dough and portion it, proof it, stretch it, shape it a million different ways and bake it at different temperatures and times and get 6 different, whatever, million different outcomes from the same ratios of flour, water, salt. Flour, water, yeast. I mean, like sometimes salt, sometimes oil. Like, but you know what I mean? Like if you took this dough and fermented it for 1 day and made it round, and then I took that same dough and fermented it for 4 days and made it like a pretzel, different things, but the same recipe.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Dude, there's so much to be learned about pizza, food, fucking alcohol. I mean, it just seems like the knowledge it gets more and more and more and more and more.
Yeah.
But I gotta have your pizza again. I've had it like twice.
Yeah.
But that was
I gotta make you like the pizza that the pizza that I like to make. I'll hook you. We should hang out and make this because that's what I like to do. I mean, I love square pie, guys. Don't get me wrong, it is amazing. But I eat it often.
Okay.
And when I really want to indulge and like really enjoy pizza, I make thin crust pizza.
Okay.
Yeah.
There you go.
Don't hate me.
Don't hate the guy. It's all good.
Please go to Square Pie Guys.
Fuck yeah. Go to Square Pie Guys. What are the 3 locations, Chef? Let them know where they're at.
We got Oakland, down in Old Oakland by Swans Market, 9th and Washington. And then we got Soma, 7th and Mission, and Ghirardelli Square, Beach Street, on the bottom of Ghirardelli Square.
There you go.
We got those local kitchens, Square Pie Guys at local kitchens, Lafayette, Roseville, and then coming soon, Palo Alto, Cupertino, Campbell, Mill Valley.
Chef, talk your shit.
Let's go.
Also, in your fucking freezer at some point. All right? Sucio Talk podcast every Monday live at 10 p.m. I'm going to fix the goddamn sound, okay? So don't kill me.
Does it sound fucked up?
It's like sometimes with the live and like if you've seen, I've been producing the show the entire time.
Yeah, I
like,
see you
switching
switching.
and everything like that. So like sometimes it's hard for me to then look at the YouTube screen and make sure that. And last week for Ron's that I did, like the entire first hour is like, like
fuck.
It sucks, you know?
Yeah.
And like I know that there's some people that will listen to 10 minutes of that and be like, fuck this podcast forever.
Yeah, I think that's it's kind of fair. Actually.
Yeah. And so, you know what?
Not forever, but just, yeah.
So, you know what? It's like, cool.
Yeah.
And we'll get there.
You appropriated Detroit style pizza.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I'm appropriating food podcasts over here. All right? Sucio Talk. Peace.
Sweet. I could talk to you forever.